I'm the underdog with the heroic heart. I'm Eric Jones Jr. I have to keep pushing for my kids. If I give up, what's that leave them with? Nothing. I have to understand that it's bigger than me. That it's not about me when I wake up and go to work. It's not about me when I read and educate myself. It's not about me when I'm practicing my speeches. It's not about me. It's about my family. Hey, hey, hey. It's another edition of It's a Jones Thing podcast. I'm your host, Eric Jones Jr., aka the underdog with the heroic heart. Today I have a special guest, DJ Robertson. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing great. It is 175 degrees here already, so I'm in the house with the air conditioner.
I haven't been outside yet here in Atlanta, so I don't know. It's probably just as hot down here.
Yeah, if it's hot here, I know you might as well go outside with just covering your private parts because it's hot. It's hot down
Right.
here. I understand. So let's get right on into it. So I start my show off with, it's called Buffoonery in the Shoe Store. So I work in the shoe store. It's my part-time job, and yeah, I work in the ghetto mall. So the first thing is the looting. So these Jordans came out. I don't know if you're familiar with Jordans, the Flints. So they came out. So all the malls got broke into. They stole the shoes from there, but then they didn't steal from our store. But when you come into the mall, it looked like you walking in the projects because it's boarded up. So people can't break the glass. Like a bunch of stores are boarded up. So you just walk through the door, you look like you're going in a vacant building. Yeah, it's horrible. So it's this little short man that's in the store, and he got like a bunch of tattoos. So he talking to this white dude. They talking about tattoos, and he like, yeah, man, he an older dude. I'm 34, so I know he at least 40 something. And this Negro had the nerve to say, yeah, man, I'm gonna get some cartoons tattooed on my head. I'm gonna have SpongeBob over here. I'm gonna have yeah, exactly. Listen, I had to walk away because I fell out laughing. Like, bro, really? Cartoons on your head? Like that's what you want to do with your life? I think he was doing it just to say something, but it just sounded stupid. It didn't sound
that didn't sound very educated, like at all. Not even for you to even look cool. Like you get no brownie points for that, bro. Like
not at all.
Not at all.
The last thing is these women with the fake booties. Listen, I'm skinny. And if your thighs look like my thighs and you walk around here with a big booty Judy, but something got to change. Like you can't be around here with the skinny man thighs and then your butt just extra big. It's just nasty. It's just nasty. Like I see it a lot. Like that's.
And sometimes you want the big booty, but you can't afford the injections for the thighs. Maybe that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like they need time to save up. No.
It's called squats. Get you some cornbread, get you some mashed potatoes, and just hit the squats. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just, I don't know. Yeah.
You know what?
I'm just saying. So do you see any buffoonery? Like, have you seen any buffoonery lately?
I'm gonna be real with you. So I don't get out the house that much. Like I work from the house, so I don't get out like that to see that stuff. I mean, with everything going on, this whole year is buffoonery, to be honest with you. From coronavirus to what's going on with the looting, the whole year is crazy. Like literally, we're in chapter 6, and I'm looking outside my window. Like, are we gonna see aliens next? Like, this whole year it's for the books, and we need to tear this freaking chapter out. So other than that, I don't have any personal stories of buffoonery.
Okay. So the next segment is called Jonesing Around, and it's about my 6-year-old son. And he's a character. So he got his little graduation, little virtual, because he just graduated kindergarten.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a little girl on there. She live across the street from him and his mom at his mom's house. So that's kind of like his look, play around girlfriend. So we like, oh, you ain't gonna say nothing to your girlfriend? He gonna say, nah, that's my ex.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's my
wow.
ex. Yeah, he said, nah, that's my your ex, sir. Excuse me, you 6. What you know about an ex? And then
Right.
then he gonna say, what he say? London, my new girlfriend.
Oh,
Okay, all right, okay, sir. I guess.
you know what? These kids nowadays, oh my God.
Yeah, he's 6. So his
Wow.
his girlfriend, like it's my sister best friend. Like she always like been his girlfriend. So she
Oh,
married and she got a daughter. So he playing with the daughter. I'm like, oh man, how you go from the mama to the daughter? He just laughed. He talking about yeah, the baby got in the pool with me, and then he gonna say the daddy way taller than you. I'm like, bro,
oh, you
really?
know what? Kids say the
You
darndest
know
things.
what? Yeah, and cause I know them, and it's funny because they last name is Jones too, and I'm like, I
Oh.
always say that we not related because they 6'8" and I'm 5'8". Yeah. So yeah, do you have children?
I do. I have an 8-year-old. I don't have stories like that though either, just because mine is my son is special needs.
Hmm.
So my son is just not like that. I have other stories, but not like that. And then I have to sit and think like I can't be put on the spot like that.
So is he autistic? What does he have?
So my son is autistic, but when he was born with a rare lung disease called surfactant B deficiency, which
Hmm.
caused him to have to get a double lung transplant at 4 months.
Oh,
So he has complicated medical conditions, but when you see him, you can't tell. So he's about to be 8 in 2 weeks. He probably
mhm.
looks like he's about 6, but other than that, you really can't tell. And he's just overcame a lot of different things, like literally having like a G tube since he still has the G tube, but he's eating normal food now. We barely use it. So, as far as stories like that, no, I don't have any.
Yeah, I totally understand because I work with special needs children. So
Okay.
I know what that's about and like everything you were saying, I totally understand because with autistic kids, you got stories, but they different
Right,
stories and
they different kind of stories, and he still do say like the darnest things too, but it's like in a totally different
yeah, because
way.
I trust me, I totally understand because I know the stories the parents get and the stories that we could give as teachers is
Right.
totally different. Because them kids, listen, I love them to death. I miss them, but I like it's gonna be hell when we go back to school because they about structure, and if you don't got that
Right, and
structure,
right. And I know once my son go back to school, like you said, they are about structure. And I know honestly, being at home, structure has been completely lost. So for him to try to get back into that routine, I know his teachers they're gonna catch all kinds of hell from my
yeah,
child and the other kids.
yeah. So
So
pray,
my
pray for
prayers are with y'all.
all teachers,
My
please pray
prayers
for
are
them.
with y'all.
All right. So I usually have you won't believe this. I can't remember any you won't believe this moments. Like where you see just some crazy stuff. Since we kind of been in quarantine, I kind of been at home or at work, so it kind of falls in line of buffoonery at the shoe store. But I always ask my guests three top 3 things. I'm gonna ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
So you gotta pick the top 3. Top 3 places you would go on a date.
Oh, that's a good one. I I like to go on dates where I gotta get to know the person. So literally like walks in the park,
Hmm.
like or something fun like maybe bowling.
Okay.
Um, what would be the third one? Uh, I would maybe going out to dinner, but you eating your. I mean, I guess you can talk while you guys are waiting on your food, but when I get my food, I'm in my food. Like, all right, so I guess going out to dinner, yeah, that'd be the third one.
Okay. Okay. So mine mine would be an art museum because I never been and I like art now.
Okay.
Um, I would say miniature golf, go karting, or something like that. Seems
That's
fun.
cool. That's cool.
And yeah, like dinner cool. But like you said, when that food hit, like yeah,
Yeah, like
I
I'm on my food, man. You know, so yeah. Like I'm gonna be trying to talk to you and eat at the same time. I'm into my food. I'm
so
a
I would
food.
say a walk, like, cause we got this place called the Canal. We don't really got a beach here, but like somewhere like that, like just take a nice little walk, sit down
Yeah.
somewhere, get to know each other type stuff. So that's so they similar somewhat.
Okay.
Next question. Where, if you could go anywhere in the world, like you, it don't matter, like money's not a problem for it. Where would be three destinations you would want to go? Two of them by yourself and one of them with a mate.
Um, that's a tough one. There's a lot of places I want to go. So I definitely want to experience Africa. My mom was raised in Canada, so she was adopted from Jamaica and literally was raised in Canada.
Mm.
Um, so I would probably want to visit Canada. Those two places could be by myself, and I guess with a mate. Like I've always wanted to also experience the UK. So maybe with a
Okay,
mate, I would go to the UK. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So for me, Africa, I think Africa, yeah. No, I would say Nigeria because I have some mentor kids there. Like I mentor kids. So I
That's
would want to go
awesome.
there so I could see them, just experience the life that they live, see stuff on that side. Somewhere else I want to go by myself. Uh Cali is like, I don't know. I got a feeling that's where I'm gonna end up moving, like at
Oh,
some point when I get the money too, because it's expensive to live there. But I just want to go there. I always had a like this. Somebody told me, one of my guests told me I got like a Cali vibe, but I'm like, I don't know. I just like it, so I want to go there. And
okay.
then with a mate, I would want to go to Dubai.
Okay. Okay. That's what's up.
And the last question, hmm, who who are your top two or three celebrity crushes?
Okay. Celebrity crushes. See, I don't look at celebrities like. Well, you know what? It's crazy. So I'm not gay, but I have a thing for Young and May. I love her. Do you hear me? Like I love Young and May. Um, that's one. And then two celebrity crushes. I can't think of nobody else because I don't really have crushes like that on celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they look good, but it's like I'm not in the same atmosphere to have a crush. But I love Young and May. But it's not. It's weird. It's not a crush thing, but it's like I love her. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Man.
So for me, Megan Good is definitely, even though she married, I always had a crush on her since I've been a kid.
Got you.
Who else? I don't know. Like I'm kind of like you, like where I'm at, because I'm not saying I want to be a celebrity, but I want to get to where people know like who I
Yeah,
am. So
I'm in the same boat.
it's
Yeah.
like I ain't really gonna be drooling. I would say if I could kick it with somebody, it would probably be Rihanna. Like she seemed like she fun.
She seemed like she'd be fire, like she'd be real cool to kick it with,
Yeah.
like go out on the town or something like that. I definitely agree with that.
Her and then Jill Scott. Jill Scott's for a couple reasons. I ain't gonna say all of them, but yeah.
I love Erykah Badu too. I know I didn't get to watch their
Erica,
battle, but
yeah,
Erykah
Erica
Badu to me is
she is
everything.
thick. She is definitely thick. Oh, my bad, my bad.
It's okay.
Uh, yeah, cause like, yeah, I'm gonna be quiet on that, cause yeah, with Jill Scott, it's a video that came out of her, and that's one of the reasons why
You talking
I
about like the
definitely,
microphone, the one with the microphone? Oh
yeah.
my
Listen,
god.
listen, as a man, all men like we like. I mean, unless you married, you really ain't looking. But I'm single, so now I can speak on it. Yeah, that's definitely wins her over.
I cannot. You know what?
Okay, let's get into today's topic. I guess you're the topic. Um, So I'm going to introduce you before you can like tell, because you're going to talk about self-love. So I'll introduce you and then you can kind of just tell, we'll go from there. You'll talk next. Okay.
Okay.
So we have DJ Robinson. She's the owner of an up-and-coming dating app, Playing for Your Keeps, based on emotional intelligence. That is very important if you don't know about emotional intelligence. I learned that recently. Sexual compatibility, attachment theory, and love style. She believes having knowledge of these topics beforehand is important before starting a relationship. And I must agree, because emotional intelligence is just as important as your IQ. Like if you don't
Yeah.
got that under control, yeah.
I have a problem everywhere, not even just romantically. Platonic relationships, work, everything. Like you gotta have emotional intelligence to deal with people. So yeah, it's very important. And I feel like, it's not pushed out there like in the mainstream like that. So I wanted to come up. It's weird. So my dating app evolved from emotional intelligence to the other things that you just said, because I feel like all of that is important. So to be able to kind of just come up with fun ways to test your compatibility with a person on a dating app, I think that's cool. And then also, not saying that all men don't do research or try to grow within relationships, but to kind of, subliminally put that in their head, like emotional intelligence, attachment theory. Attachment theory is a psychological theory that came about in the 1950s, 1960s by John Bowlby, where we're all kind of raised, whatever environment you kind of grew up in, it kind of determines your attachment theory, or your attachment style, excuse me. And there's 4 different attachments. So there's the anxious attachment, the secure attachment, the fearful, and the avoidant attachment. And depending on how you grew up and your personality and all those different things, it determines your attachment style. And sometimes guys can be real dismissive to their girls' emotions. Well, if you know a little bit about attachment theory and you can go back and kind of study up on maybe why you're that way, it might break that cycle for that guy. You get what I'm saying? Like in a subliminal way. So just trying to introduce these theories to the mainstream world through a dating app, I thought would be a genius idea, because that's something I struggled with in my dating experiences. And as far as just self-love in general, I know for me, like, I was always a people pleaser. Like I literally would go into relationships and I would totally forget that I was also looking for I was also looking for a suitable partner. So I would go in and try to be this heaven on earth to a guy and do all of these things. And then I get in the middle of a relationship and I'm just totally exhausted. And I think in the back of my head, I was thinking, okay, they'll turn around, they'll do for me. But in reality, I already created this dynamic that I'm gonna just do and not expect anything from you, because I didn't open my mouth. So I really had to learn self-love for myself. So I can create better relationships. And I'm learning through my research with this app, and just even before then, just trying to learn to love myself. So when I do come into a relationship, I'm not looking for a person to just make me happy. I know I'm happy within myself. I know how to make myself happy. So when a guy comes in, he's adding to me. It's not like I'm looking for him to fill my cup. So I'm doing for him, so he'll hopefully fill me up. If I'm doing for him, it's from my overflow. It's not because I'm looking for somebody to fill me up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And it's funny, like how you broke down your dating app and those different things, and that's things of our generation, like we don't necessarily think about, or we, like you say, we learn about, because I've learned these things as I've been 30 and up, like
Right.
the different things you were talking about. But with self-love, I'm reading a book called Boundaries. And there today I just was reading it. Something told me to read it before I got on here with you. And it was talking about like somebody was just saying that the dude, he was like, it was a story, there was an example, and he was like, he's always doing, but sometimes we do out of fear that we don't want someone not to love us, or we don't want to
Right.
feel like we're by ourselves or something of that
Right.
sort. So
So
that falls into self-love.
right. That does fall into self-love. And it also falls even under it falls under a lot of different things. But yeah, a lot of people will just do for people because out of fear of being abandoned. So they think that if you say no, you're uncomfortable with the situation, but you're so afraid to be alone, you will still say yes. So out of fear of abandonment, you would rather just do what's uncomfortable to you so you don't be by yourself. But people need to understand the key, it's okay to be by yourself, because when you're by yourself, you actually learn yourself. You learn what makes you happy. And you when you learn what makes you happy, when you get into a relationship, you understand yourself better. So people can't take advantage of you, because you know the saying, if you don't stand for anything, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. And I know for the longest I kind of fit in that category, because you know it's pushed on you that I know growing up, like all the girls had boyfriends in elementary school and they were already having sex and all that stuff kind of even in my own generation, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't doing all of that. So I kind of felt kind of behind. So, you know, getting into middle school and high school, I wanted to be that girl too. So I did the things that I felt that I needed to do to be that girl. Do you get what I'm saying? And within that, I lost myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to be something that I kind of wasn't, and I lost myself.
Totally understand. And I've been in that situation too, where I've been in relationships, or not even, maybe not even like relationships, me and a woman, like just friends, where you do, or you just go along with it just to go along with it, and then you lose yourself, and then you like, you doing stuff that other people like to do just because maybe you, like for me, I couldn't drive. So if somebody's like, hey, you trying to go here, it's like, ooh, I can get out the house, but it ain't something that I really want to do. Like I would rather go do something else and then leave when I want to. So it falls in the line of having self-love for yourself. You got to have boundaries. Like if you don't
Right.
have boundaries, then you just like, it's just like when you what's dude name on Friday, Stanley. He didn't want nobody stepping in his grass. Nobody would have stepped in his grass if he had a fence in his yard. You got to have a
Right.
fence in your yard if you don't want nobody to take that energy from you. So you gotta, that's a very important thing about self-love. So what steps, or like what steps, like when you first realize like, oh shit, I ain't myself, what can I do? Like what did you
So
start doing
it's
to kind
crazy.
of,
It's crazy. So I looked at this status from 2013, and it basically was a status about I was in a relationship with the father of my child, and with him he didn't work, you know, so I was supporting the household while trying to take care of my son. And I remember putting up a status about um you know, you can't, basically how women try to fix men, but you can't fix them, and you need to realize you broken yourself. And the crazy thing is, like, dang, I knew that in 2013, but I still continued that trend, right? It's like you know, but then you don't know what steps to take. So, like I said, I always was like this people pleaser. I always did for dudes that I was with, stuff like that. And I barely asked for anything because I wanted to look like this strong, independent person. Just a note I want to say before I forget too: women who try to do that, um, in reality, you are cutting off intimacy, a chance for intimacy, because if you don't allow a man to do for you, that you don't allow him to be close to you, because if you are this strong, independent person who ain't nobody can do anything for, then how can that person be close to you? I just want to add that. But anyway, fast forward, I dated a guy, and we dated for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. And like I said, I had this old philosophy where I can just be this strong, independent person and I don't need for nothing. And I can just be that person and just do for him, and he'll stick around, because every guy always stuck around. You know what I'm saying? I eventually got tired and broke up with them. This guy broke up with me. and it broke me because this is my philosophies were shattered. It's like I knew better, but then at the same time, you know, nothing really was tangible for me to really know. So that breakup broke me. And he was honest with me about a lot of different things. And then just from there, I just decided like, let me not get into another relationship and let me just try to focus on let me focus on me. And with me focusing on me, I just, you know, I started reading books. I think the anxious attachment, attachment, I think it's called Attachment. I read that book. And then I started looking up stuff about emotional intelligence. I got my life coaching certification through Udemy. I just started doing research for myself. And then with me doing research, I also met this guy on a dating app. And I remember trying to get him to take a love language test. He wouldn't take it. I remember trying to get him to take an emotional intelligence test. He wouldn't take it. And all of these ideas just kind of formed for my dating app, like the quick compatibility games for my dating app. But just that breakup kind of opened me up for real to, okay, you need to change, because even though you are this quote unquote strong, independent person who will do for your dude, and yeah, you might look good on paper compared to these other girls, but these other girls, their dudes are sticking, and they're sticking for a reason. You get what I'm saying? So I just had to just reevaluate myself and learn how to love myself and what I really wanted, because I didn't know what I wanted. Like I would make my dudes their identity and their problems my problems. It was that bad. Like I didn't even have an identity in the relationships. So, you know, I just really had to embrace self-love and love myself. And that's what I've been learning through these last couple of years. So.
I like what you just said. You lost your identity, and you can lose that when you don't have self-love and you're not happy with yourself. You're just be in a relationship and you forget who you are. Because it's like sometimes in relationships, you'll see like people get comfortable and then they start gaining weight. Like the dude, you be like, dang, bro, you just cut. What happened?
Right.
Man, they be like, oh, I'm eating good. Oh, my wife cooking. Nah, bro, you just got comfortable. And it's like you can get comfortable, and comfortable gets you nowhere. You got to get uncomfortable. But like you said, when you avoid your own problems and try to help somebody else. It's like in the Bible, they say, don't try to get the pluck out of somebody else's eye until you get it out of your eye first. Because then that's how you're able to help. That's how you're able to help people now. Because at a certain point, dude smacks you in the face like, yeah, shorty, I'm done with you. You like, hold on, wait a minute, what's going on?
I done put all this time and energy into this relationship, and you walking away from me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, but I really had to sit and really look at myself though. Like, okay, what did he do for you to want to do all of that? Right? Like, let's look at the situation for real. Like, why did you do all of that? And it was really just a fear of abandonment and just not wanting to be alone. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, also, I think from childhood, I wanted to be that girl too. Like, you know what I'm saying? All the popular girls were, you know, dating already, doing grown-up things. Like, I'm just being honest, I wanted to be that girl too, and I didn't have that opportunity. And another thing about living and kind of being in your subconscious, and what they talk about in attachment theory, is you subconsciously act out things that you want in your childhood. Like, I can give another example. Like, me and my dad didn't have a close relationship either. Like, when I was a kid, like, I was always in and out of trouble once I got into middle school. And then even then, he just wasn't the type to be close to us. Like, he was a provider, right? But I wanted that closeness, you know what I'm saying? I wanted him to understand me. I felt misunderstood. And in these relationships where I was like basically this, I guess, dominant female or whatever, I think I subconsciously just tried to recreate that dynamic where I won my dad's heart. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but some people tend to recreate their child. They try to recreate their childhoods in adulthood. Like, that's something else I had to let go of. With, like I said, I wanted to be this girl in school. you know, once I reached adulthood, I finally was attracting the dudes that I like, but you know, look wise, but personality, they weren't hitting on shit. Just to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying. But I felt like I was living what I wanted to live back in the day, and I had to let that go. Like I had to really dig in my subconscious and really just kind of meditate on why I was moving the way I was moving and why I was doing the things that I was doing for people who just did not deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So those things and other things were a part of it.
Yeah, so it sounds like what they call you had daddy issues. Like
I did have daddy issues growing up. Like I said, me and my dad have a good relationship now, by the way. But growing up, you know, I wasn't close to him, and I wasn't the easiest child to deal with once I hit my teenage years. I was not. But even as my preteens and younger than that, he just wasn't that dad that was there. That he was there as far as a provider, but as far as like, you know, talking to me, putting me up on games, stuff like that, I did not have that growing up. No, I didn't. And I honestly think that makes a difference in a girl's life too. If you have a male figure that puts you up on game. So I didn't have that. I didn't have a father figure who told me I was beautiful or let me know what these dudes be up to or what they be thinking. And I didn't have that. Like these are things I had to kind of just come into consciousness for myself. You know what I'm saying? And not just me hearing different things and then knowing better outwardly, but really knowing it, because you could know better. Like somebody could tell you something and it's common sense, but until you really understand it for yourself, you get what I'm saying? Like it's hard.
I
Yeah,
totally, because like you're coming from a woman's perspective, and that's kind of the same thing with dudes. Like when you don't have a dad, you don't get put up on game, and all you do
right.
is you see what's going on. Like my last episode, I was talking about why we cheat. One of the reasons is like you see like sleeping with a bunch of women, you get accepted. If that's the cool, like you said, that's
Right.
the cool thing. It's like, oh yeah. So when you don't have that, you go and you trial and error. So I have a bonus daughter. I'm in her life still, but I'm not as much as when I was with her mom. But like I put her on game. Like I told her, I was like, at some point you gonna have sex. Like we ain't gonna be with it, but at some point you are, because like we were
Mm-hmm.
kids. And I was like, you just can't be a hoe. And I had to break it to, and like that's as simple as I could break it to her. Like I'm not one of
Right.
them people. Like that's how I give her the game, just like I would give it to like I'm gonna give it to my son. I'm gonna give it to you raw and real. And like she had made a little mistake, nothing serious, but I was explaining what boys think, you know, stuff of that sort, because you gotta know, because like once you got game as a female, like you winning, because you can understand like I ain't gotta give nothing up to get some money. I ain't gotta give nothing up to
Right.
get some dinner, because sometimes dudes just like y'all, we just, hey, I want to go out to eat. Hey, you trying to go out to eat? I pay for it.
Right.
So like you know when to like hold your cookies, rather than
Right.
when you don't got game, you thinking, oh, I gotta give my cookies, and then you end up thinking you in love, and then you like, oh wait, he ain't love me, he just wanted that, and then you end up being hurt. So that's like you said, like as a father or a father figure, just a male in a female's life, you gotta put them on game, because if you don't, you failing, because you know what little boys think. Like I know what my son gonna think about at a certain age. And I'll be
Yeah.
like, hey, settle down, son. pipe down, little buddy. And we not on that, because like I'm not. I've learned as an adult, as I got older, I can't be on double standards, because women are just like men. Y'all like sex just like we like sex. Y'all like certain things just like we do. So it can't be
Right.
like, oh, well, she can't do that and he can. So that's kind of like with the father thing. You can't have a double standard. You got to just put both your kids on game. Put your son on game and put your daughter on game to be have her boundaries up, because little boys is nasty. Little boys is nasty.
Yeah.
Grown,
Agree.
grown men is nasty too, but little
Yeah.
boys.
Okay. Agree. Agreed. Agreed.
So how long, um I take it that you're single. How long have you been single since, like the break, like since you've been on your
It's
self-love, have you been single that long this whole time,
I've
or?
been just about yeah, I've been single just about that long. Like I think I've had um some situations, but it wasn't me being trying to be in a relationship. Just being fully honest, it wasn't me trying to be in a relationship. But as far as being like single, yeah, it's been over 2 years now because this happened and broke up in like 2018 sometime. And I think we tried again a couple of times. It mostly was with him when I say the situation, but it just didn't pan out. It wasn't right. Like with him too, we're on totally two different levels in life. And I think he peaked that and I just was just trying anyway. And he just, you know what I'm saying? He on his path, on his journey, and then I'm on mine. And I think they just kind of, and then I have a child, he doesn't. There was just a lot of differences I think that he just wasn't ready for. I think that's what it ultimately like boiled down to. And then along just with other things. So now I've been chilling. I've been single for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, you've been single for a while. I was in a relationship. Now I'm single. I don't know what it's like to be single. And then we got this quarantine stuff going on.
I
We
know,
got the
right?
world that messed up. It's like I don't even know. Like it's weird because like I'm cheap. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm cheap, so it's like I don't like spending money on other people. I like spending money on myself.
Okay.
So I don't really like have to go on a date or anything. So it's like I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God.
I'm in the mix.
Well, you can do free stuff. Like I was saying, I know one of the things I like to do. I love to go walking in the park. I want to get to know a person before anything else. So sometimes you don't have to spend money like all the time. It's nice when somebody spends money on you though, but it's not necessary.
So sorry, my bad. So what? So you got this dating app, right?
Hmm.
So are you just organizing it? Or are you gonna try it out yourself?
So I don't know if that's a good question. That is really good. I mean, once it's fully developed, so it'll be fully developed sometime next month. I know I'm gonna be testing it out, but I don't know if I'm gonna be getting on there to try to find somebody. I don't know. I might. You never know. I might not. I really like the games we came up with. I feel like um they're it'll definitely help with compatibility. Like I said, as far as seeing attachment theory, even sexual compatibility. I got two sexual compatibility games on there. I think that's important. Like they don't talk about it like that, but most of the reason why people get divorced sometimes is due to sexual incompatibility. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go into a relationship being BDSM, wanting to slap your partner in the face, and your partner is totally into vanilla sex, and you're like, whoa, 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 or your partner doesn't talk about their sexual fantasies, and then years come down the line and they want to try different things, and the other person is looking like you never said anything about this before, and then ultimately they break up. So I think that's important. So I have a lot of in-depth kind of stuff in this app so people can really tell if they're compatible or not. So yeah, but I don't know if I'm gonna be on there like that. I don't know yet.
That's cool. Yeah, I might try it. I don't know.
I,
I'm trying to
I,
I'm trying to really, like you said, like when you get from a breakup, like you have to focus on yourself. So especially like I was married, so it's like I gotta see what I did wrong, what I can do better, how I
right.
can get me better. So it's really like I've been about self love. That's one of the reasons why when I was talking to you, I was like that's perfect because that's kind of where I'm at. Like you got to focus on yourself. You can't like jumping into another relationship ain't gonna help you because you're
It
gonna
don't.
bring that same baggage that you bring in the last
Right.
relationship that you never fixed. So you gotta self-assess. Like you can't have self-love without self-assess. Because if you don't self-assess,
Right.
then you don't know what the problem or like with this quarantine, I've had to figure out what the hell I like because it's like, oh, I'm here by myself And like what so like when my son's not around, it's like just me. Like so I kind of like that's why I was doing my podcast more because I like to talk. Like I ain't got nobody to talk to. Let me talk to some people.
That's
And
awesome.
it's just you got to work on those things. So what you were saying earlier, like how you start reading, you start researching, you start finding yourself. Because and I
Right.
seen something earlier. It's not finding what was it? It's not finding yourself. It's creating yourself. It's creating who you want to be,
I
and
agree.
you can't because you already had everything that you got in you. You just gotta let it out. You just gotta find how to create the right stuff for you. Because sometimes, like even now, like with fashion, like people wear whatever they want to wear and it's fashionable to them. That's them. Like don't let somebody tell you, oh, that's ugly or because you don't match. Because I don't match sometimes, and I know I be frustrated with a lot of these dudes that, oh, I got to match from my shoes down to my
Right.
pants to my like, bro, if you don't get out here looking like somebody uncle at the barbecue, like, and it just be funny, like how you when you are yourself, you still get judged, but it's like skip everybody because everybody want to be themselves. And once you understand that, then that's when that self-love comes. But then you also have to
Right.
have that self-awareness.
Agree. I totally agree. Like I know the one thing I like about my app is, I these games are based on learning yourself too. So people don't know a lot about love style and love language. So you'll learn your love language. You'll learn what you like in a relationship. So there are different 5 love languages. There's you might be somebody who prefers quality time. You might be somebody who likes words of affirmation. You might be somebody who likes acts of service. What's the other? You might be somebody who likes gifts, somebody to be thoughtful, or you might be someone. I think the last one is physical touch. You might
Yeah.
like you have to be touched, or words of affirmation. You like love letters. You need to hear somebody tell you that they love you. Acts of service might be okay. You can tell me that you love me, but I need you to show me. Um, Quality time, spend time with me. You know what I'm saying? And then gifts. You might want somebody to be thoughtful. You know what I'm saying? When they give you a gift, it's a thoughtful gift. It's not just some random gift. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't know about that. Again, a lot of people don't know about attachment theory. So like I said, there's anxious, fearful, secure, and dismissive. And so when you play these compatibility games, you will discover yourself. You'll learn more about yourself, and these are things that are needed in order for you to go out and date. So I wanted to come up with a dating app where yes, you're giving yourself self-love and you're becoming more aware of yourself while you're dating. You know what I'm saying? And then it's when the compatibility games are done, you will see what that other person is like and you will see what you are like. So you'll know and you'll discover the different types of personalities. I even came up with different sexual personalities because there's some people who's highly sexual and there's other people who's more sensual in sex and there's other people who don't. They're in the middle, like whatever their partner likes. You know what I'm saying? So it's an app to discover yourself within a relationship and even learn things about yourself and what you may like because some people don't know where to even start. You know what I'm saying? And then what I do encourage is after people play the games, do further research so you'll know. You know what I'm saying? And I think my goal is to build just a more conscious society because if you're more conscious about being emotionally intelligent towards other people, if you're more conscious about why you're the way you are, your toxic traits, all that stuff within any type of relationship, then it's going to help humanity in general. So that's really what my goal is. And it just to do it through a dating app just to me made sense because people are always checking out dating apps. So, yeah.
I like it. I think it's for the mature. It's not for like, oh, I'm gonna get on here and I'm trying to get some because like I mean that could work, if you got game or whatever. But what it is actually teaching you about self-awareness about yourself and then being self-aware to be self-aware about someone else. I got one more question
Okay.
pertaining that, and then you give 3 practical tips people could do starting now on self-love, and then I'll cut in after that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Have you ever did animal assessment?
I've never done an animal assessment.
So you should do some research on that,
I
an
will.
animal assessment, because I think that'll be great to add to,
Okay.
because there's different names, but the one that I took first, ET and them. Well, somebody, his name was Chris. He started it, but he ended up passing away, and he passed it. He got people certified. So there's a lion. The lion is someone that wants results. They're kind of a rah-rah person. They
Okay.
cutthroat. It's like, I ain't with your BS. We getting this done, and that's what we came here for. A flamingo, that's who I am, is a people person, talkative. When they come in, they bring in that energy, like, but they care about people's feelings, or they kind of have their feelings on their shoulders. And then it's a chameleon. A chameleon is like kind of a mixture of everybody. Like, you know how a chameleon you can fit in, but you stand backish. You kind of like, all right, do I need to be a lion? Do I need to be a flamingo? And then a turtle is very detailed.
Okay.
Like, you can't be like, hey, I'm about to go get we about to go to a party. You coming? No, I'm not coming. Well, there's a party next week, Saturday. It starts at 10 o'clock. You trying to go? Yeah, I'll go, because that gives them time to prepare for it. So a turtle is very detailed. So once, like, everybody is different. It's kind of like love languages, but you kind of know how to communicate to that person and how
Got
you
you.
like to be communicated. And like my kids, they're different animals. So like my daughter, you communicate to her through text message. She kind of a chameleon. She,
Okay.
like, you got to tell her in advance. She ain't really down for let's go in it right now. My son, oh yeah, let's go. We on them. He's like a little me. He talkative. He bringing that energy. He probably a flamingo. So, and then like their mom is kind of lion chameleon. Like she's about results, but she's not really coming out, and she a people person, but she not, she kind of chill, and she got to feel her vibe. So we all different in the household. And once I started learning that, and we started talking about it, we kind of understood how to communicate with each other
That's
differently.
awesome.
And that's something that I think will help, like, in relationships, not even just dating, but just in life. You
In life,
understand how to talk
period.
to people more.
Right. Okay. Awesome. No, I'm gonna definitely look into that. Thank you. So animal assessment, and then 3 ways for self-love. Like I said, you be on Facebook, you see all the great quotes about self-love and all of that stuff. That stuff is great. That stuff is dandy. But I believe really doing the work, right? So um I know for me, it started off with reading. Like, if you have a few bucks, you can go on Amazon. If you can't afford a life coach or a psychiatrist or whatever, go on, Google books that's about self love, or Google books that's um, maybe about childhood trauma. If you're somebody who's had childhood trauma and you're trying to figure out how it connects to, why you don't love yourself today, you can look up codependency. You can look up different things on Google and look up books on that. And I would start reading if you can't afford a life coach or a therapist to help you, because and then if you can't afford a therapist or a life coach, talking to somebody who understands you is very important. So going out, talking to therapists and coaches and finding the right one. Of course, don't just go with anyone. Find the right one you feel relates to you, and talk to them. Schedule something once a week, and dig into those traumas and dig into those triggers and figure out why you move the way you move and why you do the things you do. The second thing would be, I like meditation. I like self-reflection. I think that's important. So for me, every morning I kind of just sit down with myself, and if I'm feeling some type of way, anxiety, I'll picture in my head like a mini me, right? And it travels to where I'm feeling maybe anxious at. And sometimes it's usually in my chest. Like, if something happened the day before and I'm feeling some type of way about it. Something happened to me earlier this week, and I'm still kind of feeling some type of way about it, and I'm still searching on why I'm so triggered by this thing. I will sit with myself and sit with the anxiety and dig through that. So I think meditation for the second thing, at least that definitely works for me. It helps me, and every time I do it, it brings something new to why I feel the way I feel, and it's helped me along my journey with growth. And then the third thing, self-care. Like for me, exercising is self-care for me. You might be somebody who likes to take bubble baths, get your nails done, do something that makes you feel good. Those are the three top things I would say you should do.
So meditate, read. I would say if you don't read, write.
Definitely right. Journaling. That's a big one too.
Yeah, meditate, counseling, a life coach is key. Like, or get in the community. That's key too.
Right.
So those are three great things to start doing. Leave us out with how can people get into contact with you, and then a quote of the day.
A quote of the day. Let's see. So how you can get in contact with me, our website is www.p4kdating.com. On Facebook, which is actually P4K Podcast. We have a podcast as well, where people can actually come on, just regular people. So far, I've had life coaches come on and speak about their experiences with relationships and love, and even talk about their clients' experiences and how they've traveled through their issues and what they're doing. But also other people can just randomly just email and come on. So our email is info@p4kdating.com. And we P4K Dating on Twitter and P4K Dating on Instagram as well. And then quote of the day. Quote of the day. Let me. I can't be put on the spot like this. Can't be put on the spot like this, Eric. Let me see. Quote of the day. I'm trying to think, what would I say the quote of the day would be? Just know that energy is important, I would say. Just as far as like the energy you put out into the world. So if you love yourself, or you somebody who do want to love, you do want to show that you love yourself, walk in that, be that, until it comes out in real life, and people will match that energy and they will treat you that way. I don't have an exact quote, but I feel like that's important. Like people need to understand that, you know what I'm saying? In order for people to treat you the way that you want to be treated, you also have to treat yourself that way. So
yeah. See, you did good. So thank you again for coming on, returning the favor, coming on my podcast. You dropped a lot of good information, a lot of self-awareness, curiosity on things, or just like making people think different. That's kind of what I always want on my show, to make you think different. You might not go out and do everything someone says or if I say it, but it makes you think different. And then if you actually act on it, things might change. Again, thank you. You guys can email It's a Jones Thing podcast. You got any buffoonery? You got anything, funny about your kids? It's a Jones Thing podcast on Instagram. And today we were sponsored, I'm going to say, because I made my first shirts. I forgot to say that at the beginning. But my son, I created a t-shirt thing for my son. It's called Christian Dewan. And we made our first shirts the other day. So we're sponsored by Christian Dewan. thank you again, DJ Robinson. You can measure my arms, but you can't measure my heart. Like my mom always say, peace, one love.